It is January 15th, 2019. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast, talking SmackDown Live. Myself, Mr. Raj Giri, Mr. Matt Morgan, coming along soon, coming to us internationally from vacation. He will be joining us shortly. And what a night on SmackDown tonight. The Royal Rumble is a week from Sunday. Of course, tonight, right now, if you're watching this live, you're missing the premiere of Temptation Island on USA. And boy, was there some temptation during SmackDown between Jimmy Uso and Mandy Rose, or so it may seem. But alas, that played out with shenanigans. Interesting SmackDown, kept building things. We saw more vignettes and then cameos with NXT talent, these new call-ups, lurking in the background, cavorting, hanging out backstage, watching on with intense interest. It was something. Raj, what did you think of SmackDown tonight?
I thought it was good. I thought it was real good. Sorry, we had a couple of technical difficulties for you guys in the live chat. I'm working on getting Matt on right now, but I thought the show was really good.
Yeah, it was solid, man. We had that match between Rey and Andrade. Just Andrade now. No Cien Almas.
No, Almas is gone. It's just Andrade.
I was just waiting. Did you ever get the chance, Raj, when he was that with a headline perhaps on Wrestling Inc. when he had a narrow loss to use the headline Andrade Cien almost? Because that tweet has been in my back pocket for like a year, and now it's not going to make sense anymore.
No, I did not. But it is interesting how they only do this with names that they came up with in NXT, right? Like they've never done this with someone from TNA or anyone like that I can think of, right? I mean, they've changed names before, but not drop like a part of their name.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, I almost wonder if they think they can't get it past the trademark approved at first, and then once they build up history with the character more, maybe then it's easier to get a trademark. You have a more solid trademark case for just going first name only.
I don't know. That's such a unique name, though, that I wouldn't think. And why don't they have that issue with any of their other talent? So I don't know. I think it's just Vince's thing. Like one day he's like, I don't like that name, and it's too long. Even though I feel like Cien Almas has a cooler sounding, and it means something in Spanish as opposed to just Andrade. But whatever, 2 months from now we're gonna all be used to it and not care.
100 souls, correct? That's what it means.
Yeah, that's correct.
That is cool, but yes, they never capitalized on that at all.
Yeah.
So we saw Heavy Machinery backstage making shakes and smoothies with the New Day when Becky Lynch rolled in. I saw people trying to defend Dozer's segment on Raw last night. I went back and watched it again. It's already aged poorly.
Dozovic or whatever, Dozovich.
Yes.
Otis. Look, I think he's got some charisma. I think he's got something. I think he already comes across as lower mid card with the way he's been used. I don't know. I think this act is dead on arrival. I mean, you see other acts from NXT when they come in like this, like a joke. You see where they are pretty quickly, and I think Heavy Machinery is headed down that path.
It's funny when you said that, Raj, because I thought you were about to say he already comes across as lower to mid IQ. That's where I thought you were going.
No, they don't come across as stars at all. They come across like, drunken frat guys that, are not superstars.
The shakes and weights thing, I can get behind that. Or stakes and weights, pardon me. I can get behind that. Yeah. I can get behind that. I can get behind going with this attitude that they're very old school. I mean, like we've talked about before, I feel like I'm watching TBS on Saturday in the late 80s when I look at Heavy Machinery. I think they could lean into that, but just this that voice that he's doing, that affect, like I just don't know.
Yeah, and it's just random to a lot of people that don't know who these guys are, right? I mean, people that don't watch NXT are watching and just be like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? And they were doing these promos where they're lumping all four of them in, like just a separate scene in one vignette, as opposed to giving them separate vignettes to kind of get their characters down so people kind of know who they are, and then bringing them all up the same week. Again, it's just kind of lazy. And they just are kind of blending in. Now, that being said, this isn't, irreparable or anything like that.
No.
Just as far as being effective, an effective way to bring in new talent, this is probably the least effective, least underwhelming I've seen in a long time, especially with EC3, who's got the look, the tools, but they're making him so one-dimensional over the top, and that just never works as an upper level heel. Even when Rick Rude did it, I mean, he was great at it. He was probably the most successful one to do that kind of a gimmick, the over narcissistic ladies man gimmick, but he wasn't so one-dimensional. Same, Ric Flair, any guy that did it, they weren't so one-dimensional that they're just staring in the mirror all the time. So
yeah, and I think the reason why there's so much pressure and attention on this is entirely because they built this up as a big part of this new era and doing things differently. This idea that we're going to see new talent, new matchups, fresh ideas. They've been airing the hell out of that video package, hyping these guys and gals. So now, yeah, it's critical that they introduce them well. And I just feel like, Nikki's match last night was good, but all of these other little cameos aren't doing it for me.
Yeah, and I felt like Lars was the only one that had effective promos, and that's because his was done separately to begin with. And then they kind of lumped them all together. Obviously, Lars, we're not sure what's going to happen with him. WWE's website did tease him, possibly, showing up on tonight's show. So I think that means that he's, not forgotten and still, possibly in their plans if things can get worked out.
Yeah, we'll see. Crazy story with that anxiety and panic in essence have been keeping him from making his debut thus far. I mean, for his sake, I hope he's able to overcome it and take advantage of this opportunity. So Becky Lynch came in, drank some of that protein monstrosity backstage, walked out to the ring and cut a promo about facing Asuka at the Royal Rumble. Asuka came out, got into a face-off with her, and then that was interrupted by the Iconics, who came out, leading to two matches: Becky Lynch versus Peyton Royce with Asuka on commentary, and then Asuka versus Billie Kay in a very, very short match. The Becky-Peyton match, I was surprised how long that went on for, given that they should really be doing everything they can to just make Becky look like a powerhouse right now.
Yeah, that was probably one of my only negative points on this show. I thought every other match on this show was given the right amount of time. Sheamus and Miz, I didn't want to see that be a long match, so I thought that was good. Almas and Rey, which was one of the best TV matches I've seen in a long time, that was given a lot of time, and I thought that was perfect. Yes, I thought this should not have been more than one segment. It shouldn't have went to a commercial break. So yeah, I mean, that was the only negative about it, but it did what it was supposed to. I like that they didn't just go to a tag match with the Iconics versus Becky and Asuka, which is kind of the go-to, in the formulaic storyline playbook. They did something a little different here, and so, I liked it overall, although I agree that this match should have been a lot shorter.
Yeah, that was the first 40 minutes of the show.
It was a pretty bad match.
Yeah. I like any time they give the women a lot of time. I think that overall is a good thing. I love opening the show with Becky. Love that they're putting her and Asuka front and center. I think people are very, more excited for that match than they are Ronda Sasha. And it's not that Ronda Sasha is not going to be good. It's just they haven't given it a storyline or any real heat behind it yet. Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to be blanket just giving women time for the sake of giving them time.
That's true.
Just like with the men, if they're good at longer matches, then give them more time. If they're not, like the Iconics or Nia Jax, then don't give them so much time. Keep their matches shorter. Hide their weaknesses. I think that's just common sense. And Peyton Royce should not be having long matches yet at this stage.
Yeah. So, of course, both Becky and Asuka got their respective wins there with their submission tap-out moves. AJ Styles came in, made an entrance, headed right to the concession area.
These segues are so weird when they do them. Like you had the women in the ring, you had Asuka and Becky in the ring looking like they were going to face off, and then AJ Styles music hits. So you're kind of trained to assume that he's going to be doing something with them. You know what I mean? Like when you hear that music hit, and I know they've been doing this. They've done this several times in the past. I just think it's such an awkward segue to the next segment, as opposed to cutting to a promo or a commercial or something and then going to AJ.
I'm kind of used to it now, though. I mean, it reminds me very much of like, okay, The music's hit. You went too long. Next act's coming on.
It reminds me of like the Oscar music when the it starts to like, your time is up. Get out of here. The next people are coming out. And I felt like it kind of makes Becky and Asuka look a little weak.
Well, because that's the part that's weird. Is the
you don't have Braun. You don't have people doing that with Braun Strowman. You know, Braun's out there, and then Fandango's music hits, and it's like, all right, Braun, time to go.
Well, here's the problem with it. To your point, they shouldn't have the talent in the ring looking confused as hell as to what's happening here. Becky and Asuka had this look like, what's going on? Yeah,
it's just awkward. Yeah, you could cut to a backstage promo, anything. It's just, I think it just made them look weak.
Yeah, so a little. AJ came through the crowd, walked out of the concession stand, and cut a promo defending hot dog, soda, and popcorn and merchandise.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan doesn't want you to have these things. But by golly, you want to spend your money on this, you go for it, Americans.
It's a little silly, but when so much of this feud is taking place in the concession stands. But I like Daniel Bryan. I liked the brawl was kind of fun. I like that Daniel Bryan was one of the fans in the crowd. So it was entertaining. It just doesn't come across as a WWE Championship feud right now.
I bet you Vince wrote that promo. I bet you Vince acted out that promo. I bet you Vince got a tear in his eye when he was reciting it, because that is entirely what Vince McMahon believes. Your right to consume is your right as an American, and it is patriotic to do so.
Yeah. Again, it was entertaining. It just doesn't come across as when I think of, for as long as I've watched wrestling, I think of the world title as this larger than life feud, and guys feuding over your right to eat hot dogs doesn't come across as a larger than life, a dispute.
A little weak. The Usos were backstage doing a photo shoot when Jimmy Uso was delivered a gift, perhaps an early anniversary present. He said, "Jay, my brother, you read the note for me." The note saying it's from a naughty girl who needs to be locked up in the Uso penitentiary. And of course it was signed Mandy Rose, not Jimmy's wife, Naomi. A hotel key card was included. And Jay asked Jimmy, what's he going to do?
Right. It's like, well, first turn this camera off.
Yeah.
This is so much like that Lana and Enzo and Rusev angle. Remember that hotel angle?
Yeah.
It seemed like they just tweaked a couple things around, but hey, I was intrigued. I thought it was interesting enough. I liked your idea on Twitter.
Oh yeah. I mean, technically that would have been sexual assault, but in the 90s, they absolutely would have had Mandy bragging, "Oh, he showed up in my hotel room. He did all this." And then the Usos would have come out and the punchline would have been, "That wasn't me, Jimmy. That was my brother, Jay. Twin magic."
Right.
Yeah.
And now they didn't have to go all the way. It could have just been like a kiss or,
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff that you're seeing in those Temptation Island commercials during SmackDown are way edgier than that.
It's true. Well, it's Temptation Island. What you think, if you're trying to avoid temptation, why are you going to a place called Temptation Island? It seems very counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Speaking of temptations, Valentine's Day is only, less than a month away. And guys, maybe you have a special someone you want to send to the Uso Penitentiary this Valentine's Day. But, those doors just aren't locking as well as they used to. You remember those days when you were always good to go? Those days are in the past. But now you can increase your performance, get that extra confidence in bed, go back to your glory days of male sexuality with Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, blue like the color blue. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know that this is the stuff that works. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they're chewable, here's the key, guys. They work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever that opportunity arises. No more having to put something on your calendar, saying, I'm going to take this, and then 2 hours later, I'm going to be ready to go. No. You chew that Blue Chew. You get down and start doing what you do. And then a couple minutes later, bam, it's go time. Now, this isn't just for guys with dysfunction. Blue Chew is for any guy who wants extra function to enhance their performance in the bedroom. You've heard us talk about it. I've tried it. It was a wow moment for all involved. Raj has tried it as well, talked about noticing that something extra. Matt Morgan has tried it. I believe his wife's quote was, hey, if Superman wants to wear 2 capes, that's just fine. Blue Chew is prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package. So no in-person doctor visit, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness beyond this ad read. They are made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they are cheaper than a pharmacy. And right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners, for our audience. Visit BlueChew.com. Get your first shipment for free when you use our special promo code WINC. Just pay $5 shipping. Again, that's BLUE Chew.com. Promo code WINC to try it free. That is a new promo code. Give it a try, WINC, to get your shipment for free for just $5 shipped. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice. We thank them for sponsoring the podcast, and you'll be thanking them for putting a little pep back in your step and making that Valentine's Day a little bit more magical. BlueChew.com, promo code WINC. Thanks to Blue Chew. It's going to be a great 2019. Oh, man.
It's yeah, I mean, like you said, it's not just if you're having problems or anything. It's a performance enhancer. If and especially with Valentine's coming around the corner, it's a perfect thing to get.
Yeah, guys, you get older, you put on some weight, and that turtle doesn't come as far out of the shell as it used to. I'm just saying, Blue Chew, you'll figure out where that all went. Good stuff. After that promo, Samoa Joe walking backstage, saw EC3 posing in a mirror. Joe keeps walking, went to commercial, saw photos from the WWE HQ visit by R-Truth and Carmella as part of them winning the Mixed Match Challenge. And then we saw promo Zelina and Andrade hyping up the match with Rey for later in the night. But first, Samoa Joe versus Mustafa Ali, a match that didn't really get going because Samoa just started beating the crap out of Mustafa before it happened.
Yeah, so that's your new feud, Samoa Joe and Mustafa Ali. I think that could be really good. Ali is super talented. I mean, they could have great matches. That Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy feud just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, there was nothing really there.
Yeah.
No,
we lost your video there, Glenn.
Yeah, sorry, I'll get that back
okay.
in a moment. Still on audio.
Yeah. So I can hear you. But yeah, it's that feud, it never had that big blow off match that I felt like it should have had. But regardless, I mean, this is something. It's kind of bad. I mean, it's kind of sad to see how kind of down the ladder Samoa Joe has gone over the past year. He seemed like a world title run was inevitable, and he seems further away from that than ever.
Well, I think the reality is there's only so many spots at the very top.
But he's the farthest he's been from it. He's gone from pay-per-view main events with with Roman Reigns and that level to this.
Well, he was in a lengthy feud with AJ. We'll see.
Yeah, it's not anything you can't come back from, but you just get the feeling that management doesn't seem at that level.
Yeah. We got an update backstage. Sonya Deville with Mandy Rose. Mandy talking about how she wants to ruin Naomi's marriage.
Yeah, just giving it away like that. It's sometimes with WWE, you're like, wait, so in this part, are they supposed to not know that there's cameras around when they're explaining their diabolical plan, right, with the camera right there? I don't know. It seems like it should be done in a more subtle way where they're caught as opposed to where they're doing it right where the cameras are. But whatever.
Well, yeah, and this has just gone on for a while. I'm assuming Naomi's going to get a new partner and she'll be involved in a tag feud with the two of them.
Man, I don't know. I see Mandy becoming a breakout single star from this whole angle.
Maybe.
And I could see Sonya, her and Sonya having a falling out. I mean, Sonya to me just seems like a natural babyface. Mandy's such a good heel. And she's got that star quality. Vince really is big on her. And I think the storyline's helping her a lot.
Yeah. I mean, clearly they believe in her, so they're giving her a push. I would say that, this is a little retro, sort of hackish to have a storyline like this. But I think that's very much the character that Mandy's embraced this entire time, sort of the more old school.
Yeah, and I think as long as it's not everyone doing that, if it's one character that does, that's
better her than Alexa. Better her than that crap with Alexa they did last night.
Yeah, that was just random. I mean, it all makes sense. It all goes with the story. So
Yeah, I mean, would they have done that with Ronda, the Alexa spot last night? I don't think so.
No,
They
no.
wouldn't do that with Becky or Sasha.
no.
It's very weird. So,
And you know that video, the clip of Alexa, where the stagehand barges in on her, and it has like millions of views on YouTube. I think it's the most viewed clip from last night's Raw on YouTube, on the WWE's YouTube channel from last night.
It didn't even show anything. It
I know.
wasn't even, I mean, like, man, if I was a 13-year-old boy, first off, I've got the internet, so TV, you got nothing to offer me. But yeah, it was just so lame on so many levels.
And like I said, those Temptation Island, right?
The Temptation Island on currently. I'm missing Temptation Island because we're doing this podcast live, Raj.
Those are more salacious than that spot. But yeah, it's at 2.4 million views. I stand corrected though. The Braun Strowman flipping over the limo has slightly more. It's at 2.5 million views. But 2.4 million views for that. So
yep. Somewhere Kevin Dunn's printing that out, and in a meeting he's just going to point to like, this is why I'm right, guys. This is what the people want to see.
Yeah, I bet you the Mandy Rose clip from SmackDown tonight probably gets more views than anything else on the show tomorrow.
Oh, crazy. Which is a shame, given some of the matches we had tonight. But when Rey Mysterio was walking to the ring, Nikki Cross just jumping up and down, shaking a fence.
Yeah. Again, underwhelming for all these NXT call-ups. Why bring them all up the same week? Why not space it out and give a little promo time and something instead of EC3? Just did we get to EC3 yet, or was that later?
That was before, just Samoa Joe just shaking his head, walking away.
Yeah. So he was just flexing in a mirror, not looking around. Basically kind of doing Tyler Breeze's old gimmick. Kind of Tyler Breeze / Lex Luger. Yeah.
Here's the problem with all this. When they've brought up NXT people before, even when they brought them up in batches, we got little vignettes, little coming soon cards. They got matches where they got to come out and shine. The idea was people knew enough, diehard fans knew them well enough that there would be a pop and a reaction. Let's throw them into a storyline and show you who the character is through the storyline.
Yeah, I'm trying to think the last time they've done that well, where they've had promos hyping someone's entrance, someone's debut, and it builds anticipation. And then, when they come, it's a big deal. I think Bray Wyatt's the last time I can think of one where they had built to it and it had a good payoff. I'm trying to think if there's any other. If anyone in the chat can think of any, let me know. But
I think it's better just to do it. Remember how well?
How often do those not work? More often than not.
Enzo and Cass worked quite well.
Yeah, but they're kind of like the exception. Enzo is one of the most charismatic, best promo guys that they've ever had, so.
I mean, were you there? I was in American Airlines Arena that night, the Monday after Mania.
No, I always have to leave before Mania because of how crazy it is on the site. So I always leave that Saturday.
I'll tell you, everyone was dead ass tired, right? 5 days of wrestling in Dallas. It was the last thing that night on Raw, or the second to last thing that night on Raw. And people just blew the roof off the place when Enzo and Cass came out.
Enzo has a ton of, Enzo was great on the mic. But what I was saying with promos building someone up, they didn't do the promos. They just came out. But if it was just Big Cass, it wouldn't have worked. He would have been dead in the water after a few months. So
probably. Yeah, but I don't know. Just Nikki backstage shaking a fence. I don't know if that really is going to get her over. Yeah. Rey Mysterio versus Andrade. I want to say CN almost. You know what this is like, Raj? This is like when Rebecca Romaine dropped the Stamos, and now I just have to say Rebecca Romaine and stop myself from saying Stamos.
Yeah.
Just Andrade.
Or when Prince became the symbol.
Similar.
Yeah. It's too hard.
It is.
So, I'm sure in a couple months it'll be like Cesaro, where you don't even think about it anymore. But it's going to take a little getting used to.
This match, though, great match.
I thought this was the best TV match, and when I say TV, I don't mean pay-per-view, NXT UK takeovers, anything like that. Just Raw or SmackDown, NXT. I thought this was the best, at least on Raw and SmackDown. I thought this was the best match I've seen in maybe a year. I'm trying to think of the last one that was this good.
It was very good. I thought there were some really good moments. I thought when Rey did that move this time, wasn't quite as smooth as in the tag match.
Yeah, it almost looked like it would hurt him more than Almas.
Yeah.
Than Andrade, sorry.
But it was good. This was a great match. Very entertaining. Absolutely worthy of the length that it went. Competitive. Really, I mean, very hard to criticize.
Yeah, it was great.
And Andrade got the win.
Yeah, I mean, it was, the only thing I think that would have made it better if there were some stakes, like there was like the winner got something out of it, or if it was for a title. But other than that, I thought the match itself was fantastic. So yeah, really strong stuff. And I thought Andrade's stock really rose tonight. And I think Rey has really helped get him over the slump that he's been in. Creatively, they haven't done anything with him since he's made his main roster debut. And I feel like now, hopefully we start seeing something, because Rey, he had his working shoes on, and man, Andrade looked like a star.
Yeah, well, I mean, Andrade, so the reports have been that he's been very unhappy. It seemed like this is a step in the right direction to utilizing him properly.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see. We see all the time where people get a push for a few weeks and then they're back to where they were. So hopefully this isn't one of those cases.
Yeah, we shall see. After that, we got an update from Mandy Rose's hotel room where Jimmy went to tell her in person he couldn't do it. She had a photographer pop out, take photos.
Why the hell do you have a photographer when there's a video camera? Again, I guess maybe this is WWE land where there's not video cameras in, some of the times, but that was just so stupid that she has a photographer when there's a video camera guy right there.
Yes. And then you think, oh no, Jimmy's in trouble. But then no, Naomi came in, beat up Mandy.
Well, Mandy revealed her plan to Jimmy, saying she would have never hooked up with him. She, after the photos were taken, that this was all a big ploy just to break up their marriage, and those photos were going to ruin them. But it turned out Naomi was in the room, a la Rusev with Enzo. Kind of surprising here that, normally the story would have been for the babyface to just take out the heel right there. But Mandy actually kind of got the better of Naomi in this exchange.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
No, absolutely. After that, let's see.
I think was it here that they announced Nakamura and Rusev at the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, so that's going to be happening.
Yeah, for the U.S. title.
Rumble card is looking pretty stacked, man.
I know. I mean, that's the one thing, when you don't have the split pay-per-views anymore, the lineups are super strong. You don't have all the filler matches, but on the flip side, there's a ton of talent that doesn't get to be on the show. Now, Rumble's a little bit of an exception because you got the 30-man Rumble, 2 30-person Rumble matches. But in general, these pay-per-views lately have just been, stacked from top to bottom without much room for, a lot of deserving talent to get on.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I think Elimination Chamber, well, I think with that's going to be very loaded with that women's tag match being in the chamber itself, especially 12 women, 6 teams of 2. It's going to be kind of nuts. We close the show tonight with The Miz having the bestie birthday bash for Shane McMahon, who turns 49 today. This was not like the Festival of Friendship. It was sincere. They did not split up at the end. However,
it almost felt like they were going to, didn't it? It had that feeling in the air a little bit, like there was going to be, not maybe that they split, but that there was going to be a miscue. One of them accidentally nails the other one, or that there was going to be some twist coming.
Yeah.
You didn't feel that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, but I think it's too early in the story. I mean, Festival of Friendship happened really, really, like 6-8 months in to Jericho and KO.
And again, I'm not saying that they do a split, especially because they got a title match coming, but something happens that puts a, and you know what? I'm glad they didn't do that. I just, while watching it, almost felt like that was coming, and I'm glad that they didn't. I like how they did this, letting the soup simmer, I guess.
Yes. Miz got Shane a pair of Jordans, got him a video package which I thought was nice. Shane seemed touched. Of course, the bar came out to interrupt it, and then Shane said, "Oh, it'll make my birthday so much more special if you beat Sheamus in a match." And we got The Miz versus Sheamus. The Miz wearing regular clothes, wearing dress pants, no shirt.
Yeah.
The Miz ended up beating Sheamus fairly fast, and then after they kept brawling, Miz did skull crushing finale. Miz put him in the corner for Shane to do coast to coast, and then because his cake can never leave a WWE segment without ending up in someone's face, the cake was involved in the coast to coast and got smashed all over Shane's face.
Yeah. And Shane's, did you say that Miz got the win with the roll up?
Yeah.
And he hit the finish, saw Shane hitting the coast to coast while Miz had his face covered with cake. So yeah, I mean, it was a fun ending. I thought, the first half of the show, I actually didn't really like it. I thought I think Asuka's promos just hurt her. I don't think that she should be cutting these promos in English, these long promos in English, because I think it hurts her with the crowd, and the crowd kind of turns on her. So, she's someone I could see. I'd like either doing with the manager or doing her. I don't know. That I felt like that didn't work. The segment with Asuka.
Yeah, it's never really found a groove doing it that way.
Yeah, it's like her delivery's a little too over the top. That I don't know. But so the first half of the show, I wasn't. I was actually getting kind of bored, and then I thought it turned around big time to where it was a huge thumbs up by the end.
Oh, that was solid, man. Went by quick. Wasn't really too bored during any of it. I agree the beginning kind of dragged, but hey, it's SmackDown, man. Can't really complain. Yeah,
it was a good show. I thought this week in general was a pretty good week for WWE. Outside of the NXT call-ups, I thought those debuts were completely forgettable as far as their first on-camera appearances. But I thought, Lashley winning the Intercontinental title, I thought was cool. I thought, the Finn being put in the Royal Rumble match with Brock Lesnar was strong. It got, a bunch of praise online. I think a lot of people are happy with that. And I thought it was a pretty good week.
Well, what else has happened in the world of wrestling since we got a little bit of time?
All right. Well, the whole Finn thing. So according to the Observer, Finn versus Brock has actually been the plan for a while now.
Really?
For like over a month at least. So basically, I guess the idea was after Crown Jewel, the original plan was for it to be Brock and Strowman. Strowman got injured, and then WWE just decided that they don't want to beat Braun again. So it was almost kind of like to protect him. Because the plan is for Brock to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, which, we've been talking about for a little bit. So, it would involve Brock beating Braun again. They felt it would hurt him. So, I guess the plan for a while has been for it to be Brock against Finn. And they didn't announce it. And probably because the Royal Rumble is at a stadium. It's at a baseball stadium. They got like 40,000 tickets to sell. Tickets haven't been moving that great. So they didn't announce it till this week, just in an effort to boost ticket sales, because I guess they felt like Brock versus Braun was a bigger ticket mover. And it's kind of similar, like Evolution. They kind of did the same thing. They announced Alexa Bliss versus Trish Stratus, just feeling that was more of a marquee matchup to get tickets going. And they never had the intent on delivering that match. It was always going to be supposed to be Trish and Lita against Mickey and Alexa Bliss. Obviously, Alexa got injured and Alicia Fox took her place, but it's just really weird false advertising, and just feeling like it's the brand, so no one cares and they can get away with it.
Don't trust the WWE. That's the moral of the story. No,
you should be surprised how often I get emails complaining how they went to a WWE event and the advertised main event didn't take place. Like all these Raws, all these SmackDowns, they'll advertise these dark matches, and more often than not, they don't end up taking place.
As long as my seat is where they say it's going to be, I'm happy.
Yeah.
That's the key. Jerry Lawler re-signing with the WWE. What's the story there?
Yeah. So apparently his contract, I guess every year it's up at the same time, January 8th, I believe. And he had not been contacted for a renewal. So he sent a reminder, and they came back and not only gave him a renewal, they gave him a raise, which
wow.
he hasn't been used at all. So I think it's a case of where they don't want any talent becoming free agents. So it's a good time to be a wrestler. People are out there with money looking to sign names, and WWE is not letting anyone go.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, why would they?
Yeah. AJ Styles' contract is coming up. You talk about someone who's in the best possible situation they can be. I believe his contract is up in, I think it's April. And I mean, he's like the perfect candidate, right, for All Elite Wrestling and getting a big name. He's also getting, you know, up there in years. He's in his 40s. He's got a wife, kids. He's made a ton of money. All Elite will probably make him a huge money offer. And it's almost guaranteed WWE is going to go all out to keep AJ. So AJ's going to get the best deal he's ever had this year. So
good for him, man. I mean, good for everyone that could take advantage of this.
Yep.
No, it's very exciting times. Well, anything else to cover before we wrap this up and take this home?
Yeah, I just want to point something out. Some people are talking about how it says cards are subject to change. That's always been one of those things that I think if you took that to court, you would lose, because when the talent is there and you could deliver those matches and you don't, it's one thing if talent get injured. You know, if UFC, they have cards subject to change because it's, you know, someone misses weight or, you know, there's an illness. It's not that they're there and they just decide not to do it. So, yeah, I mean, WWE gets away with it because it's entertainment, but I'm sure if anyone ever decided to contest that, they'd have a case. No one cares that much. But yeah, someone's asked me, is CM Punk contacted by AEW? I had reported a long time ago in my interview with Cody Rhodes that they had contacted CM Punk last year. Punk has no interest in going, and yeah, I think he's just done with wrestling. I think it would be a game changer if he did decide to get involved with them. I think if they got a name like that, that would really move stuff. Yeah, because I think Chris Jericho is obviously a huge name. I just feel like some of the novelty of Jericho outside of WWE has worn off a little bit over the last year and a half. So yeah, Punk would be it, but he just doesn't seem interested.
Says he's done.
Says he's done.
Yep.
Yeah, cool, sorry about the technical difficulties early on, guys. For those of you who joined our chat and had to move over, Matt, we couldn't get him on with these issues going on. But hopefully, I think I know what caused it, and hopefully next week that won't happen again.
Yep, Monday night, back to business as usual here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Myself, Raj, and Matt. What else is coming up on the site, Raj?
We got part of our interview today with Diamond Dallas Page on today's episode of the Weekly. He talks about AEW, Dusty Rhodes' influence on him, on his career, his new book. Tomorrow we got Goldust, and Goldust is talking about AEW. If he'd leave WWE for AEW, his status with WWE, his injury, how he's recovering, and yes, it's great stuff that's coming up. So those two, Brody King, ROH's Brody King, he recently signed. He'll be up on Thursday's edition of the Weekly. So if you haven't already, sign up for the Wrestling Inc. audio channel on iTunes or any place where you get your podcasts. Tons of great stuff.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. You can find me on Twitter at Glenn Rubenstein, where I tweet along with live WWE programming. And we will see you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.